Senator Kane. Senator Lujan.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and thank you for holding this important hearing. Mr. Chairman, I also want to thank you for the work that this committee has done throughout this Congress, which has been abundantly clear about the concern that families all across the country are faced with. And as we've seen with these most recent natural disasters, our brothers and sisters throughout the United States that live in some of the most rural areas, folks that still don't have running water, it's absolutely devastating what we're seeing as a result of hotter temperatures, drier conditions in the Mountain West, the West with these wildfires, the intensity of hurricanes. In the end, this is all impacting the cost of living for people all across America, which brings me to this hearing, Mr. Chairman. The climate risks like natural disasters have created a homeowner's insurance crisis as well. And with it, real pain and anxiety for communities in states like mine. We know that the climate crisis is driving higher insurance premiums and non-renewal rates, leaving entire regions vulnerable when another disaster strikes. And based on data collected during this committee's investigation, it's the communities that are most vulnerable to these risks that need protective insurance policies the most. What we're seeing in New Mexico and most parts of the country, it's rural areas experiencing the highest increases in premiums and non-renewals. In New Mexico, more extreme and frequent wildfires pushed insurers to refuse renewing or approving policies in areas at high fire risk. It happened after the Hermit's Peak Calf Canyon fires in 2022, a fire, by the way, that was started by the federal government, a prescribed burn that was never put out, that resulted in the state's largest fire in our history. It happened after the South Fork and Salt fires in Ruidoso earlier this year, and I'm fearful that it will happen again. So, Dr. Keyes, yes or no, does refusing to renew home insurance plans after a natural disaster add to the challenges of the recovery process?
Yes, if insurers are exiting the market in the aftermath of the disaster, that's going to leave fewer options for homeowners as they seek to rebuild and reestablish the community.
The Ruidoso fires this year destroyed or badly damaged more than 1,100 homes, but only around 10% had adequate insurances according to estimates. As climate impacts worsen, that number will fall even further. For those that want to rebuild their lost homes, the question now is where? What options do families have if companies refuse to insure their property or choose to cancel their insurance plans years later? The questions that my colleague from Virginia, Mr. Kane, was asking clearly articulate that. Now, to many in my state, picking up and moving elsewhere isn't just financially difficult. These are families that have been there for generations. Lands that have been held in the family for centuries. And because someone somewhere with some methodology, some actuarial says, nope, can't build there. We're not going to insure you there. I have a real problem with this. This is a pocketbook issue. Now, Dr. Keyes, yes or no, for those homeowners lucky enough to have their insurance policies renewed, does skyrocketing home insurance premiums make it more difficult to families to recover from natural disasters?
Thank you, Senator. It makes it much more difficult to recover from a household budget standpoint if they are now spending a significantly larger amount of their annual income towards homeowners insurance.
I appreciate that response. And Mr. Chairman, I appreciate all the conversations in the hearing today, but what you've clearly demonstrated is this is a pocketbook issue. This is something we should all be talking about more. This shouldn't be partisan. You know, families in states that are represented by Republican members of this body or Democratic members of this body that voted for the incoming president or the current president, everyone's getting hit with this. And I can't thank you enough for having this conversation, and especially what the people that I'm fortunate to represent have been going through back home. This is not right. So whether it's through this body or state by state with superintendents of insurance, someone's got to do better. And we need to make sure that we keep families at the center of all of these decisions and understanding what's happening to them when they get kicked in the face with these pocketbook issues that are just getting worse and worse. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate all the experts for being here today.